Good morning, Tara. It's still morning. It's 10:44 my time. Uh, I've been working all morning, moved some more block, stacked some more block. Now I'm hurting, but I'm not going to take a damn pain pill. I refuse. I've had some conversations this morning about all that I said last night, and grandmother per se's information with mine, and she took it back to everybody that was involved in it. Um, So far, I've not heard nothing derogatory about my saying I'm not interested. I'm not interested now, and I can't speak for tomorrow. So there's that. Okay. Last night, I learned that there are people, groups of people of inner terra and subsurface that are asking about new additional colonies, subsurface, and before long, I don't know if it'll be this year or not. I think you're going to start seeing more Terrans on the surface um, in a manner in which they select the positives that they want to talk to. They're not going to waste your time on a negative, and if the issue's pushed, well, blink, and I'm okay with that. I advise you if you're not contacted, don't try to contact. They're not be favorable to any negative surface human. You can take that to the bank. And I have already okayed that shit. Doesn't matter what I say from this point forward because it's already been said and done in council. So there's that. Today I'm supposed to meet with Anne Gray, an original human. She is the one, evidently, that grandfather Thomas and them that were in that gray area of conversation thought I should uh, bring into a team type relationship. You know what I mean? I had a bead shift, I guess, because I was sweating outside a while ago. Yeah, put it back right. I'm going to talk with her because I already said I would, not for any other reason, really. It's not time yet, a little bit. You got to wait. You got to wait. Okay. And I learned last night, grandmother per se is turning over her saurian representation, which I hadn't thought nothing about. They're the saurians are not going to uh, represent the Raptors in council anymore because they're already in council now. And so this was a necessary step. And grandmother per se's replacement is also her daughter, who is a grandmother. I don't have the date yet, and she will become the council rep for the Saurians. You know, when a Saurian, I'm just saying this for y'all's information, when a Saurian has the ability to become a grandmother or grandfather status, and surface humans do not have that ability as descendants of the original humans, you know something's wrong with us. Not only do they have their long lifetimes in body, there is an unknown, unlimited time frame of existence out of body, as in crossed up, not over, crossed up. The body and the consciousness and all moves forward, minus the body. And until we understand that, and not understand it, but as a population of people on the surface and know it, we're never going to understand how mutated we have become through the chemicals and radiation of the surface of this planet, starting with the wars and radiation of the Anunnaki to the planet. Okay. And you do not become a so called ascended master as a surface human because you die. You cross over, you do not cross up. There is no crossing up for surface humans in roughly the last 10,000 years. Surface humans in the last 10,000 years. There is none. When the humans on the surface began changes 2,000 years before that, with the destruction of the surface, all the city states and etc., we lost our abilities over time. We have lost our instincts. We may have the bud of these abilities inside, just waiting to be opened at the right time, the right place, the right situations, and the right form of being, which includes your mental, your physical, and everything else. And it's funny, your physical uh, problems may or may not prevent that unless you take more medications. That's what I'm learning now with my problems. There are certain medications I can take, and they don't have no effect at all on my abilities. Pain meds and dulling down senses and such as that affect your abilities. And the longer you take these things, the more it deadens them. I'm just saying. Something for everybody to be on the watch for. I'm gonna edit something here right quick that I needed to do. Last night or yesterday afternoon, I gave grandmother per se, since she was also in the council, co-leadership overall of the DOT. Because with my situation presently, I'm not a very good commander. When something comes up, they need to have access to somebody of Interterra, and that somebody is going to be grandmother per se for now since yesterday afternoon. She's not the warrior, but she has all the necessary information that she needs. She has been watching me and learning from me intently what will soon be over 3 years. Next month will be over 3 years that she's been watching and learning from me, and I from her. She's an excellent source of information as well, which is something um, that should be understood. Okay. I learned from all the people of tarot. I'm updating some things from yesterday on the sheet that I didn't do late because I was so tired, you know. I didn't even take my medication until I went offline last night after 9 o'clock. Okay. You know, I really should. Hold on just a moment. I want to see what this person's saying or doing. It's what I thought. Nothing. I'm so sick of people. That's why I'm so glad so much of what's coming is going to be out of my hands because the decisions have already been made. And there's nothing surface humans can say or do about it. And if you do anything in opposition, why would you be opposed to positivity? Hence, you're negative, and hence, you will be dealt with as a negative. You probably won't even get the chance to violate the laws of Terra because you'll be deemed negative before you can break a law. The laws don't really apply to the surface until the Terrans are most assuredly on the surface. And they are on the surface now. You just can't see them. When the interaction starts, the collapse may not have happened yet. You know, it may not have happened yet, but it will. And the negatives will have nothing to say, nothing to do, and not be involved. But the surface has no input at this point. Now, last night at 8 o'clock, there was a council meeting that I did not attend because I can't focus enough to travel view still. However, Grandmother Per Se and Grandmother Tomas called for this council meeting to discuss probation for the positive humans on the surface dwelling humans, the positive surface dwelling humans. That means the others will not even be considered. If they see you as negative, they may leave you alone and let you die out because they have all the time in the world and you do not. And as time goes by, there will be less and less if they do nothing. but they are working on the collapse of the global system that we have now. All the countries and laws and bullshit, it's going to get to where they can't even enforce that shit. They can't enforce anything because eventually there'll be no militaries. They'll be gone. You can guess how. As soon as they try to do something, they'll be wiped. That's my favorite word right now is wiped. Wipe the negatives. It doesn't matter what party you are in politics. It doesn't matter what country you're in. All that matters. Oops. Hold on a minute. Because that thing won't stop. I didn't know I said it in the cabinet. Come here. Keep my thumb on it. Stupid ass phone. Alrighty then. Got that done. I'll have to go feed the dogs here soon. This probationary period for surface humans to, if you are positive enough that you are allowed into Terran society on a probationary period, you're going to have to prove you have the ability to become more intelligent and positive. And it does not mean what you may often think it means. Surface human versions of positivity and negativity may or may not be applied. It depends. Look at Terran law. Go get you a copy, go download it on your phone or your laptop or whatever you got. The link's in the description. The copy, or print it out even and share it, or send it to somebody that you know and that you're one of your loved ones or concerned ones or something, you know. People involved in your life that you would like to be around for a long time. I have tried to get people to do that. Some have and some haven't. If you haven't, ignorance of the laws of Terra and the 5 rules for after the collapse will not be involved in determining how you do and do not do what you do. Ignorance of the law, you know that? We have a law that says the ignorance of the law. Terran does the same thing, and they don't have to have a law about it. It's common sense. It's intelligence level, and that's why we lack it. Because so many have to be told repeatedly. If you don't know the law, you should go learn the law. Now, there is a problem with surface laws because you have libraries full of laws. One law contradicts another, another gives it back, another one takes it back, another one gives it back. You don't know what the law is on so many things. So one piece of paper gives, one piece of paper takes away. Only surface humans have to see these laws because they haven't been through the schooling and education or have the intelligence of the lowest average Terran in Terran civilization. We're nowhere near that level as a people, as a whole. We're nowhere near that level. And I keep saying this because I want y'all to get it in your heads. We have a lot of work to do. We have to work on our intelligence. We have to work on our positivity. And we have to work on understanding the why we have to understand. They're not telling you to do something they don't think you can know or do naturally anyway, because it's always been the laws on this planet. The fact that the surface was ostracized for the time it's been ostracized, I'm not going to say it. I'm tired of saying that part. It's time for people to learn. If you are ignorant of it, it's your own fault. It's your own fault that you're ignorant. No one else's. The information is out there. Where's my cursor at? There it goes. Yeah, boom. I need to take this back to the top and save it. Mm. Last night, in the council meeting that I didn't attend for the first time, the Terran Blue Pleiadians represented themselves in a vote for probation for the positive surface humans. And after that, they were thanked because it's important that all people of terror end up being represented on the council at every meeting. And so too will surface humans become uh, represented again. Because I did for a short time. When they knew all along they wanted me to do more. But that's another story. They had to get me used to everything. And that was kind of an interim situation for me, I guess you would say. Last Tuesday, they accepted another Terran being into Terran society as an intelligent species on their own. A naturally indigenous species of this planet was accepted into Terran society with no probations, no nothing, because of the intelligence level of the species. I'm not going into all the species on the surface that have been accepted. Some are subsurface, like in the oceans and the seas and oceans and etc. And some are not. But it will do me no good to give you a rundown of this now. But if you're not careful and you can't figure this out on your own, it's another clue that you're not intelligent enough as a people or as an individual. I'll say that. This intelligence is not a schooling intelligence level. It's an intelligence level that you're born with. I'm not saying that you can be born and survive on your own. That's not what I'm saying. You have no knowledge when you're born as a surface human. You don't even have instincts as a newborn. Well, the mother and the father, blah, blah. Bullshit. That's all bullshit. It doesn't even count. It doesn't even count to a Terran. I've tried. I've tried that a long time ago. It doesn't count. This morning, while I was out moving block outside this morning, I kind of think I have felt what was happening last night when I was talking about somebody was here and somebody very powerful was here. I'm thinking it's somebody's abilities. It's not necessarily a powerful being, but an individual with powerful abilities. And I think I know who this person was, even though I can't put a face to the name right now. I think I know who this individual was. I don't know if I want to go out and say it because I'm thinking on it so hard. I don't know the future. I don't delve into future shit no more than I have to. You know, I have talked about the gifteds in the past, the gifted ones of Terra. Any people of Terra can have gifted ones. That's why they're called gifteds. It means they have advanced abilities that is like rare, uncommon abilities, not common amongst even their own people. You know, they have an advanced ability or a skill or something that they can do that the others of their people is not normal or average. It's above, it's way above. If I'm right, with all this talk about Anne Gray from uh, Too Many Thoughts, grandfather Thomas, I believe she popped in and paid a visit last night without announcing herself, which is not bad. I mean, it's nice when they tell me who's here, but a lot of times all I get is people flickering in and out just getting a listen of whatever's going on at the time because they know it about as fast as anybody else can know it because they get downloaded information from the satellites through feeds online. They know everything that we put online. They have a technology that can pick up keywords, signal in on things, just like we have that technology. We can do it. We've had it since 1991. The U.S. military and intelligence people have had it. It's called Operation Carnivore. If you've ever said anything on the phone, it's one of the words that they watch for. Carnivore picks it up and focuses on your phone call, whether it is landline or cell phone, goes through satellites and shit, goes through computers, even though it's a landline. Oh, yeah. Now, I mean, it used to not, but it does now. Anybody can be eavesdropped, anybody can be listened to. And Terra's been doing it before we even had it. They had things that ways in which they could do so. So they've been doing it far longer than we've ever considered it, doing something like that. Or finding out we had a technology that could do something like that. They've been doing it probably since the beginning. And that's why I was approached one day I think it was last week, about my thoughts on them moving against certain individuals on the surface. And of course, they already had the approval. This would have become more common knowledge. And I supported it. If they decide to do it, somebody other than me at a time and place where I have taken some pain meds and I can't focus enough to communicate, if they decide so, I've already given them the okay for me personally, my thoughts on it. They've already got the okay. That's my opinion. It doesn't make a shit, you know. And I don't give a fuck who knows it and who don't. I never have and I never will. Know what I think. I'll put it out there every day, multiple times if I'm having a good day. I may be online and on spreadsheets and on uh, the videos when I think I got enough information, or if somebody here is talking and I'm not in the bed, I'll get on video. It depends on what we're talking about. Everything don't get put on video anymore. Not like it did over a year ago when we had the all the battles and all the updates. And every time I got an update, I would ran in here, got on the computer and videoed it, so I'd have a record of it. And then I wiped 378 videos. All that time for people to have seen what we're doing and how we do it and what the possibilities are that can come from what we've already done needs to be considered. And yes, I do regret it that I did that. But I went to a very bad time. Anyway, if it was Anne Gray, A-N, I always throw a apostrophe between their syllables. So when I type it, you don't have a problem trying to read it. So Anne, A-N, Gray. And I spelled it Greye. I'm not sure that's their way of doing it, but I've got another original human that spells their last name that way. And they are learning they already know all the languages, written and spoken, of the surface. Y'all want to hear something that I don't know if I've ever said? None of them are original humans. None of the languages spoken today are those used by original humans. Ta-da! So you're always going to learn something here listening to me talk. That's your little bit for this video so far. I want to go back on the probation thing that passed the Council of Terra last night. I hope y'all know and can understand what that means to the positives of this planet. You may not never see or hear anything. And one day you're approached by somebody. Maybe if they think you're positive enough, they may approach you mentally first and ask you, is it okay to talk? And there won't be nothing else said until you give an answer. Be aware of that. They can't just talk to you if you don't approve. But not allowing it may change the decision of who you are as a person. Because why wouldn't you, if you're positive, talk to an original human or any other species of Terra, people of Terra, the Terran civilization? Why would you not talk to anybody? I would become concerned that you are negative and therefore pretty much there is no value of a negative entity on this planet anymore. And I told you about yesterday, I think I told everybody about there's going to come a time when they won't even allow the birth of a child of any people on this planet if that offspring is negative. This is going to become, in the end, a positive planet and the termination of any negativity. Spoken, thought, as in a being, whatever. We're not talking about positive and negative energy here. We're talking about the ability to be a negative individual. And that's why the surface population of humans is in jeopardy by their own words and deeds and actions of their life. And there's no escaping it unless you die sooner than they get to you. You know, if you cross over, but I would imagine in the time there's not really a set time, but they don't allow a negative being to be born in inner Terra or any subsurface affiliated with the Terran civilization. It's not allowed. And yes, there are hybrids, so sometimes a mixed couple. And I'm not talking skin tone of a human either. I'm talking there are couples of Interterra that have mixed from one people to another people. And some of the offspring are watched the entire time. I mean, as in with technology, with gifteds and other ways, if they are survivable or not, if they are positive or not, and if they have any uh, like birth defects that can be repaired even before birth, if they have live birth. Ta-da! There's something for you. So any peoples of Terra, you don't go to inner Terra or subsurface of most of these people and see someone born with a child birth defect or a birth defect from bad genetics or something. But sometimes they have an issue trying to work with the offspring of a hybrid, I mean, of a mixed couple of two peoples, especially if those two peoples' DNA does not always fit together and produce a functional being. That is something that up to their interpretation of what is a functional being or not. And it most certainly involves intelligence, that parental ability passed on to the offspring to be able to do the same sorts of things, you know, doesn't need assistance. Because sometimes when they are of mixed peoples, they become so, uh, I'm trying to think here the right words. I don't really want to say the wrong way or some other kind of bad thing, but they do seek as close as you can come to the birth of a perfect being, as perfect as this being could be. And therefore, if it's a birth defect that they can treat even prior to birth, like a DNA thing where I don't know, let's say they're missing an arm or their back is going to be deformed if they have a back. If they have a back. I'm not saying they have a back or not, but have a back as in a backbone or back as in, something like with the insectoids, they can even repair themselves. So you bring the people's experience and expertise together, and they share in making sure that this offspring is survivable, that it is going to have the best life it can have, kind of thing. You see, if it cannot, and it doesn't have an intelligence level which they can predetermine, they won't have it. They won't have it, and that's the simplest way to put it that there is. It's all about the species, the genetics. The hybrids must have a certain level of everything, or it's not a functional being. Especially if it turns out to be something of some kind of mix that becomes um, um, I don't know the words to use. I understand what I'm told and what I know from past life stuff. Just focus on it needs to be a functional being. And anything that cannot be repaired, can it be functional with that, whatever's wrong, and still be functional? I'm not talking necessarily if they don't repair a missing limb or some other physical abnormality. Okay. It has to have, or the offspring has to have, uh, even the lowest of what they accept as an intelligence level, or that might be enough as well. They don't, they just don't. This is the simplest way to put it is they just don't. There's no laws exactly, but some of it is involved with the peoples of this mixed couples. How did I get on all this anyhow? It is so deep. It's something I don't like touching on because you never know. There have been couples that couldn't produce offspring. I know that. Not functional being offsprings. And there have been couples that had perfect beings of one side or the other, or some mixture of the two. You know, good or bad physical situations have happened. So then it becomes a determination of the two peoples together. If the parental individuals become so mentally, or some have higher emotional things happen that they cannot make such a decision, then it falls back to the people of each individual. This side and that side, they must get together and make a compromise of what are we going to do. If the parents can't decide, then the people will decide. And usually what you have is the sublocals of the where the two parents came from, the sublocal makes this decision in the sublocal council. And sublocals can be cut up into more locals depending on the area size and the populations. But they don't do such raggedy, jaggedy shit as our politicians in the U.S. You're talking circles, any other kind of shape, but not a dot here and a dot yonder and a dot over there. Ridiculous shit. It's well defined. And remember, they like a system of 12. I'm not sure why 12, but it's 12. 12 main locals, 12 sublocals, and each sublocal can be divided even further into another 12. So you can get all kinds of sizes of locals, but they all relate to the next level up local. You know what I mean? So a sublocal, no matter what, relates to the next local level. It relates to the next local. They don't call them governments or anything like that, districts or none of that. They say local 1 through 12, sublocal 1 through 12, sublocal of this number, that number, and then that number. That's how they start dividing it down. And all of Terra has already been divided. Whatever's below it is on the surface. Unless it's not divided on the inner Terra or subsurface. And there may be cases where that has to happen on the surface one day. But it's not going to be done anytime soon. I don't think so. And there's not enough people on the surface that know enough of anything to be inputting information into that thing. I don't believe so. But once they start the probationary people, and we start getting populations of surface humans into the Terran civilization on this probationary period, it doesn't mean necessarily what we think it means. It's a way to get you in without the entire population being the same level or the same positivity. You see, everybody doesn't have the same intelligence at this point in time. I mean, y'all know that's true. That's like some people get a certificate of completion and some people get a diploma and can go forward. And some people that get a certificate of completion have to take other courses and shit to attend tech schools and shit. It's the same sort of thing. You got to do more to become eligible if you're not already deemed so. That's out of my hands. That's Terran's. That's a Terran thing. I couldn't tell you why some species are already in Terran civilization and surface humans are not, except it's an intelligence level that is understood. It's not about abilities. It's not about looks. Uh, there is a factor of predatory do they prey on their own kind in any way, shape, or form? And we surely do that. Not just in a food thing, but as use them and dump them kind of thing for your own advantage predators. No other people on this planet has slaves. No other people on this planet, or nobody has slaves now, put it that way. Some people have been slaves in the past, but currently in Terran society, there are no slaves at all. It's not it's not done anymore. And that started before I ever got involved. That was already started. The last one that I know of that ever had any slaves was the Naga with the Asabs. And they were the only ones to have Asabs on the planet. And I didn't know that until that time. I knew nothing about Asabs before that. What else? I feel like somebody's here. I'm not sure. Grandfather Thomas came to me earlier this morning talking about this situation, this political, the people relationships within Terra versus the surface and a possible team formation. For me, it's not about the numbers. I don't want to have a I don't know if I can function knowing that I have an honorary, in surface terms, okay, an honorary wife or spouse. I don't give two hoots in hell about monogamy or any of that other shit. But I do have a thing about being connected with somebody that would have such a title as that. There's no connection, there's no honorary person, and it's going to stay that damn way, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's got to be some sort of connection mentally, emotionally, or where is the relationship at? It's not one, is it? In my opinion. I'm not talking about anything physical or even sexual. I'm talking about a connectedness of one to another, as in me and Rhonda. It took me 3 tries to get that right. I'm not going to screw that shit up again. You know, not that I ever have, but with my first two marriages, I chose wrongly. Sum it up, pretty much. I didn't find anybody that could grow with me or expand with me through discussions and exchanging information of her stuff and my stuff. And she does that with no problems at all. I don't know if I could find another Rhonda or somebody similar. We had a discussion about that last night. We had another one about it this morning. She says I'm right in what I'm thinking about and how I think about it. She's okay with it. She's she understands this monogamy stuff pushed by society for less than 300 years, and it has been less than 300. The country is not even 300 years, and we used to have uh, you could marry more than one. What we didn't have so much in this country that I'm aware of is the wife having more than one, but that is done in other countries. I don't give a damn either way. It's not my situation. It's for each one involved in that situation to decide. And I'll go the same way when somebody's talking about somebody's a big thing in society. The U.S. now is males and females and others, and there are others. All you have to do is go to the mental health, and but there are medical terms for knowing people having one or more possible sexes other than the one that you see in appearance on the outside. They can have parts inside that you do not see. And those are medical cases and are listed as this person is this and that and the other thing. I don't know all the terms. It's not none of my business. I don't care. What I do care about is people butting their nose in somebody's personal life. Shut the fuck up and move on. It's not yours. It's not in your home. It's not in your bedroom. It's none of your concern. And this has always been in humanity. Just because you see it more is because the people that don't want you to be this way or that way or some other way are pushing it into your face. Even to the people that are this way, that way, or another way. You say, what the fuck they got to do with it? And therefore, what the fuck does the government have to do with it? And I can already tell you that religion has absolutely nothing to do with it. Because we've always had this among the people. The numbers of the people in population that are actually this way or that way is small. That you fear this person or that person may be out in public where it's now it is more uh, 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 acceptable to do so in your face, even. And I'm going to live the way I am. I have no problem with that. You complaining and bitching about it is what I have a problem about because it hints at your negativity. As simple as that. And I'm very strong, compassionate about that thing. I'll support that thing as far as it goes amongst any of the people of Terra. I already have had to do that at least twice in the last 3 years. It'll be 3 years, first of the month. Shortly after first of the month will be 3 years. So at the end of the month, it'll be over 3 years. It's so simple as that. Um, Look at a little bit down there snoring like that. Is he just snoring? It's a good snore, though. It's not a bad dream snore. He's sleeping good, even with me talking and carrying on. As long as I don't rock the chair around and make it squeak and shit. That's a damn old chair. I don't know if y'all can hear her or not, but I think it's funny. That's some good sleep, snoring and stuff. I sure wished I could do that last night. I had a dream from hell last night. I dreamed I fell outside, couldn't get up very quick, and the next thing I knew in the dream, I had some wild dog on my neck, just trying to bite. A bad dream. I couldn't get the dog off of me, and I woke up. Sweat. Wife said I was sweating, and that's why she woke me up because she knew I was dreaming something. She said I was raising hell at her dog. She said it was a dog because I said, "Get this goddamn dog off me!" Like that. She said I come out with last night before she woke me up. I don't remember saying anything, but I remember the dream. It's bad when you have so many falls that you have falls in your dreams outside and a wild dog comes up and attacks your neck. The fuck? That's kind of shit I always have to deal with sometimes. At least it wasn't the one being dead in a bed by a window. That one keeps coming back and keeps coming back. That's not normal. And I know it. It's not normal. I have three or four that keep coming back, though, not just that one. And what happens over time. It'll make you swallow hard, won't it? Again. The birds out there today just going crazy. We got blue jays up at the house. Blue jays never come up to the house. I fed all the feeders. I fed. I put bird seed in all the feeders yesterday. And as every kind of bird I can imagine is outside today. In the cherry tree, in that other cherry tree over yonder. Because Rhonda likes how they bloom. That's not the fruit cherries, they're just flowering. So I got like five in the front yard, and I think I got two in the backyard. Two in the backyard for her to see in the spring, no matter where she goes. She says in the spring when the cherries first bloom, she can see it all the way up the driveway before the leaves come out on the trees. She can see the cherry trees here at the house on both sides blooming up the driveway. She says I live for them spring drives home to see them flowering cherry trees. I put them out there one at a time, one each year on my anniversary. I planted a cherry tree for her. I did that 8 times, one tree at a time. The oldest one is the one over yonder. It's the one I had to saw off a branch off of last year. It's really bad. Got cracked in an ice storm last year. Not this winter, but last winter. It doesn't look quite the same without that other limb and all the branches, but There is one coming out. If I let it go, it might be all right. I let that one come out right above that broke one, and it's shooting straight out. So maybe it'll uh, that limb will bush out. That's what I'm wanting to say. And fill the tree back in again on that area. Somebody's here. Somebody's here. Hello? What is it? Have you ever noticed when I get communication from somebody, they're always kind of like this in front of me somewhere. They're almost never behind me, even though I look around. But if I'm on a travel view, there's people behind me in the council chambers, but never in communication here at the house. They're always, to me, they're always somewhere in here, uh, like peripheral stuff. They're always appearing somewhere if I can see them in any kind of way. Sometimes I see auras, sometimes I see their actual face. And that's all I'll see is their face while they're communicating. Sometimes I see the whole being. The stronger they are in their abilities, even grandfather and grandmother status, some I can and some I can't. It's their ability, the strength of their ability. Um, some can look at here, some can look at what I see. Like a lot of them like looking at my monitors and what am I looking at and what am I doing while I'm talking. They come in and I don't have a problem because I don't feel it. I don't know it, you know. But I can be aware of eyes popping here and there and yonder, you know, looking to see what I'm doing, what's going on. Or I talked about that a while ago a little bit. I don't mind. It was an irritant earlier when I was just starting and getting used to um, all this communication and people that wanted to see and know and try to understand more about me and how and why I do some of the things that I do, why I think some of the things that I think, and knowing that a lot of it is very different from what they would expect has been um, something of a curiosity for Terrans to see that. I think it's because of the knowing and understanding past lives things and coming to terms with that in this lifetime and also knowing that out of all these past lives I've had, only two have been surface humans. This one and the one immediately preceding this one. They didn't last very long. They didn't survive very long. They couldn't handle being on the surface when they realized themselves. Yeah. When they realized themselves, they couldn't deal with it all. And I really think from what I've heard and from what I've found out and what I know, uh, even that lifetime that I know some things about and where they were buried at and everything, and that gave opened up a whole bunch of memories when I visited the grave of that person of a previous life. Hmm. I just couldn't handle knowing. The knowing was they were unable to do it. Maybe that's who Drishun was looking for at the beginning, because he was a council leader so many times over his existence. He had done become drained and wore out from the duties and responsibilities of being a grandfather, council leader. And I think his wife and the other 7, yeah, I think they were all going to go the same way they came here, all at once, and all at once decided to cross over. But they took Drishun and Meishun out of the council chambers, where they gave their bequeathment to me. I thought at one time that that was related to their crossing over, but it was not. They took them back to their dwelling for the 9, and they all sat down in a chair and did the same thing. Or that's the story as it's told, because they are still like that, and nobody's allowed to go in. It's just not. What they did for Terra during their existence, it's deemed a, I don't know all their names and everything, I don't, but I know what they've done. And surface humans, I mean, original humans are very grateful that they came here like they did and have done and helped and assisted in their possession of themselves and understanding abilities that they didn't understand at one point, you know. Some they had awakened because of Drishun and his people. Because Drishun and his people, even though we don't know exactly what to call those people, they're called Drishun's people. He was their leader. But they all, and original humans mostly, have rotated with Drishun's people mostly on being the council leaders of Terra. There have been a few rare exceptions where they were not original humans because they have a 5,000-year council leader term. Like we have uh, 4 years as a president and twice. They don't have a twice or anything, but they do have a 5,000-year term limit. And then they either want somebody else to be found or a past council leader appointed if no one is found at the end of that 5,000 years. They can appoint. That's why I thought I could appoint somebody when I tried to walk away from all this almost a year ago now. Well, this is the end of February, so it was a year ago now. Because I think I left at the end of February sometime last year. So it's now a year because it's the last day of the month. Blah, 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 blah. That's rambling on at this point. Who were Drishun's people? Who came here with no, the 9 of them came here with no ships, with no technology that we're aware of today of Interterra. They didn't come here with anything. They just came. That's what's said. They just arrived one day so long ago. I'm not saying every decision that they made while they were as council leaders was the correct one. Grisham was council leader when they closed off the surface to the rest of the surface that exists today. Even though some subsurface colonies have had some contact, it's remained limited. And I think that's what's about to change, especially around, I'm supposed to be hearing from, in my notepad here, I'm not going to say who I'm supposed to be hearing from, but they are from the Mount Shasta subcolony, subsurface colony of Mount Shasta. They're supposed to come here sometime today and talk to me about something they're wanting to do. Uh, they wanted to take it to the council, but I'm not sure it has to go to the council. And neither was Grandfather Thomas, who's been a council leader, and Grandmother Persei. Neither one of them thought that this was the right time to bring that up in council. So they're coming to me now. I don't know when. And that's another reason I am not going to take a pain pill today. This must be that kind of important. Because I know that there are some people that have had actual communication. There are some that have had an actual uh, communication relationship situation. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of those that lie, like everything else. They want to be a part of something they are not, like everything else. So I am awaiting, I'm awaiting this communication. And if I'm in here at the desk and not somewhere else and around the house or outside, I will put it on video because I haven't talked to this certain group of people that I'm aware of. That I'm aware of. Doesn't mean I haven't. It just means I can't pull it forward if I have. So this should be interesting. And I might hear from Ann Gray today. Uh, I don't really expect anybody else, but that doesn't mean they won't show up. Because this is the fourth day now with no pain meds. It's the fourth day with no prescription pain meds, which is probably even more important. An hour and 13 minutes on video. It's almost 12 o'clock. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I need to bring up? I do want to get this Agarthan. I think it's the Agarthans. I just said it. The Terran Agarthans. But I'm not sure. But I'll know when they arrive. If it's one or more, I'll know who they are. I know they had ships in the battles, but I never actually talked to one of their people. It was kind of done through DOT. And as far as I know, I'm sitting here scrolling down my spreadsheet right now. I don't know if I've had any contact individually with any of them. I did. There was a Terran Agarthan in the DOT. He may still be there. His name was Raj Ray Rin. Raj, R-A-J, R-A-Y apostrophe R-E-N. Rin's a common last name down there, among all kinds of people. But that's the only, is an elder Agarthan. My note says an elder Agarthan, 13,853 years old 2 years ago. My grandfather, Rajray Rin, 13,000. That means he saw the collapse of the surface or knew of it when it happened. And if he is from uh, that subsurface colony in that region, in that local, it could be him. I don't know. I mean, it could be anybody. I don't know who it is. I'm just that's the I've scrolled all almost to the bottom, and that's the only Algarthan I see. I'm gonna finish it and make sure. I meant to do this last night, and I was just too wore out. My brain was. Well, I'll be damned. There's a moth who there's a moss. There's a moss who has always been. Uh, nope, that's the wrong. She's not from that local, but she is also Terran Agarthan. But she's the one in charge of agriculture of Inner Terra, all of it. There's a moss. So that's two. It's been so long. There she is again, dealing with that region, that local. I need I need to change this. Okay. That was so old. Even I knew that was wrong information. I'm just. I don't see nobody. I scrolled all the way down. It's only those two, and I don't know if either one of those two are in the local that contains um, the column local of Mount Shasta. They're not in my local. I don't think they're in my local. Let me open this window here, and I want to click on hmm, approximate map, and then I want to click on that image again. Well, so they would be in my local. Damn near half the country's in my local, and half of South America's in the local. Local one is the biggest local because if you put that in onto a globe, it gets smaller at the tops and the bottoms, right? So those locals at the tops and the bottoms are not as big. There's a whole local that has. That's not true. I'm not going to go there. I forgot how big it was. But if you go to the other map, if you go to the other map, the other sublocal map, which is the second one, they're not in my sublocal. That's what it is. They would be in sublocal one, and I'm in sublocal two of local one. I don't know. I don't know who's coming. I'm trying to guess who's coming is ridiculous. I haven't updated the forum on videos in a good while. Might even be a couple weeks. I need to go back and insert videos. I don't know if I can put them in order or not. I might can move some around somehow. Update the forum. I just haven't been doing it. And if I make a video on camera and upload it, it doesn't always list in the Terran playlist. You have to go down to all videos to get that video. Even if I put it on the playlist, it doesn't show if it's not live. I don't understand that. I don't get that at all. But it won't put, if I upload a quick video or something and try to upload it to the Terran file, the Terran playlist, it won't show on my page, my channel page. You have to go down to the all videos at the bottom, which really sucks. I think it sucks, especially when I'm looking for something, make sure I said something right on a video I've already made. You don't go to live videos, you have to go to all videos, and you'll see some Terran ones that are not listed up in there because it lists them all. It doesn't matter what playlist they're part of. Like the one I redone the other morning when I'm thinking YouTube cut off a live feed video and there was nothing there when I came after I went to physical therapy and come home last Tuesday. There was nothing there. Nothing. Wiped out that whole video. And I know damn good and well I didn't do anything to wipe out a video. Fucking YouTube. Your day's coming. I told y'all I knew where your corporation was 2 years ago. Corporation office. But for now, you're usable. When that ceases to happen, you will cease to exist. I don't care how you want to look at it. Negative some bitches. Same with the government and everybody else. It's negative. You know who you are. I don't even have to tell you who you are. You know who you are. Controlling and manipulative. I don't cut nobody's video. I may cut them off my profile or whatever. That's just me. But when you have an entire corporation or an organization or a certain mindset to do things such as this and control others that are not part of your organization or whatever, negative. Controlling, manipulative, predatory motherfuckers. Hello, YouTube. Boat faces. So it's lunchtime. I gotta go feed the dogs. Nobody's here right now. I thought somebody came, but there's nobody here now. I'm not talking about the eyes. I'm just saying nobody's here. Letting me know a stronger ability than just watching. But that kind of just watching is not something I have. I can't hone in on an individual anywhere and just watch like they can. I can't do that. I don't know why I can't do that. Or maybe I can and I don't know it. I can travel view, and I was shown how to do that with my abilities. But I don't know about when I communicate. I see them more often before I ever hear them. It's not like knowing there's people watching, as in eyes of like a paranoia thing. I can actually feel the people. Sometimes I can feel what people they are. Sometimes, not all the time. And some I can't. I just can't tell. Not until they start talking. And then sometimes then, if I haven't heard from somebody for a long time, I tend to forget what they when you talk to somebody, you get a certain sense of how they talk to you, and you get a certain there's some sort of like I'm not wanting to say like a family connection, but somebody you know of, you know, like you're familiar with their voice and how they sound, and sometimes how they think. You get that kind of familiarity. I get that from these eyes that I see upon me sometimes. Or I know they're Terrans. I may know what Terrans they are, but I'm also comfortable with it. I think that's key to being comfortable, knowing it could be anybody from Inner Terra. And even some people of Inner Terra have an attitude that I can't put up with. It's an attitude. Of course, I have one some people can't put up with. I know that. But there are people that are just, they may not be negative, they're just irritating as fuck. You know? Y'all ever met a teacher or a professor or an instructor of something and they just irritate you to no end? All you got to do is hear them talk and you're irritated instantly. I get that way with people sometimes. Sometimes all people. I don't want to hear from anybody. But yeah, so that's how you can get with people of inner terror as well. There are some people that are just irritating. Doesn't matter how advanced they are or how intelligent they are, or this people or that people or some other people. Their personality and nature make each up individual. It's not like anybody's part of some sort of hive thing where they all thinking the same, even though we say people on the surface do that. It's bullshit like everything else, you know. If enough people think a certain way, you got to wonder who's right and who's wrong based on what they do and say. But when the shoe's on the other foot, do they do the same thing? Some do, some don't. I will tell you, I don't know a politician that isn't corrupt. I don't know a religious person that I can't find something they do is wrong. That's all I'm going to say on that right now. I can't find a leader among organizations on the surface that I would consider positive. The leader of a corporation or some other uh, profit or nonprofit doesn't seem to matter from what I've experienced so far. And that's funny because if they're a nonprofit, there are those among the nonprofit that get paid. You know, preachers get paid for buying. I mean, no, not preachers. Preachers, not teachers. Preachers get paid. I don't remember what I said. It didn't sound right. Preachers get paid and they run nonprofit organizations. And so do the clerks that run the church business, the business of the church. They get paid. Who ultimately gets paid? The money they send into the office, the home office of this religion, and they all have one somewhere. There is an office that has to recognize this pastor, that has to recognize this church, this denomination, I had to do that for my own church. It doesn't it meet hasn't met in over a year, but we do have an online discussion that we do. I just don't post about it on my YouTube or Facebook anymore. If you're not a part, there's no need if you're not local. And I mean extreme local. And I don't do church like you would think. I do more of the temple thing, like Terran Temple. But I have the church legally tied in for reasons of my own. And I will go into religious and spiritual things within that church that I won't do online, as in video. Mm-mm. They may record it. I don't know. If anybody records it, I don't know. I don't even record it. I was going to go do something, but I got one more thing I want to talk about. I don't know if I'll ever get an answer from anybody. Every Wednesday for the last couple months, every Wednesday I talk to a counselor, mostly because of the depression I had from the 8 months of this last year that put me in such a hell of a bind. I didn't want nothing to do with anybody there for a few months, especially Terrell. So I started talking to a counselor who's willing to do phone. She's in town, but she's willing to do phone sessions because I'm not comfortable going somewhere. So I can cut my phone on right here and hit speaker on it, and we'll sit here and talk for 40 minutes to an hour. Mostly just how are you? How depressed are you? How are you doing? How this? How that? What's happening physically? But this Wednesday, she asked me about something that kind of set me off. She thinks that my sitting home disabled every day, doing all the things I do and the interests I have and everything else, she said, you need to get out and do something, whether you get paid for it or not, to get your mind off of your everyday stuff, whether I get paid or not. And she wants me to come up with one or more things by next Wednesday that I could do. I'm like, what in the fuck? Now, are there any things that a counseling person can do, a certified or licensed counselor can do that might make some kind of jeopardy for me if I was to say anything I think I can do? Or what can I not do would be probably more precise. Anyway, that's just a thought of mine. I don't know how to weigh that, what she said, what she wants me to do, because I haven't done it. I don't know if I want to. I don't see no benefit in wishful thinking like that. Oh, Sharonda, I'm gonna mute the mic. Hello? All righty then. She's having a big sales day. I wonder what that means. People getting concerned. It might be mean that, since a lot of her business is guns and ammo. Hmm. Big day today. Sales day. Already at 12:25. She's had a really big day. She says if it keeps up, it's going to be her biggest day ever in sales. She's been doing this with different companies. She's been doing this for over 20 years. And this is her biggest sales day. She's not going to lunch yet because she's still working, taking orders and with internet orders. And this is her biggest day with this economy. Wow. I sure as shit don't get it. That's just people buying guns and ammo for thinking about the government collapsing, or what I talked about somebody yesterday afternoon online on another website. Uh, Government supporters right now, they fall under Trump supporters and wanting the black people not to be enlisted anymore into the military in any position, as Trump's wanting to do that. So his new uh, Secretary of Defense made that announcement one day last week. And so you have all these generals of all kinds of people, generals and officers resigning. And when you resign in the military, because that's what I had to do, because of my health that was coming on, I knew I was going to. I didn't know I was going to be disabled, but I knew I couldn't run anymore. I knew I couldn't do a few things, so I resigned. You can only have an honorable resignation, and they can't stop it either. But you have to be an officer to resign. You can't resign enlisted. You do your time and you're put out, unless they nail you with something in an effort to get you out, like slap an Article 15 on your ass and then say you did something after that. They can find a reason to slap you with something in the military, and then you get pissed off, and then you actually do something about it. And they got another reason, and that one may be the one that they put you out on a dishonorable. So if Trump's telling his Secretary of Defense that he wants people out of the military, and that means that only Trump supporters are going to be in the military eventually. And why he thinks all this can happen in less than 4 years, I don't know. But it's going to leave a state of undeclared white supremacy going on in the government and government agencies and in the military. Obvious to everybody already. Even some white people are resigning. So what you have here is a known situation happening where you have an anti-American citizen president, his general staff, and a large percentage of his supporters think this way. It's so damn similar to 1930s Germany, it's sickening to me. Sickening. It's bad enough we got negatives on the planet, but to let this happen again, is this happening right now? In your face with it? Oh, yeah. Hello? Hello? Grandfather Tomas. Yes, I see you. Yes, sir. What's going on? You were listening. Hmm. listening. You don't like that either, do you? Bet your ass I don't like it. But be glad I'm not up in a ship right now as commander. I would do something personally about it. Thomas, I wouldn't give a flying fuck if they option one the entire District of Columbia. If that was the only way to do it, I would not have a problem. There's good people in the military, but there's some bad people in the military. I think you can give a reasonable explanation of, not explanation, I'm sorry. You could give a reasonable expectation of time of informing people in a public manner, more so than my videos. We are going to eradicate the military and the government all over the world. It needs to be put out when it starts happening. Yes, I do. Yes, I say so as council leader. It must be done that way because there's good people and bad people everywhere, and depending on how broad the option one is applied from a ship, you're going to lose some positives while trying to get rid of the negatives, unless you do it on an individual basis. And I don't see us doing an individual basis. In general, the whole planet, I don't see it. As in, you could say a culling for the positives, but if you cull for the positives to be remaining, a positive cull of pulling aside of positives, I don't know how you're going to do that. I can't imagine how you would do that on the surface. Though I do not think that there are certain organizations that when they are together, as in at work or a meeting or something like that, yeah, zap that fucking building. Yes, I do think that. But there's still a lot of individual zappings of option one implementation on negatives. Uh, yeah, I think that would take a lot of time. I don't think that would be a day's effort to eradication. I think if you was to try to do the entire planet, you'd take out more than you want. And then there's what level of option one? Are you taking out the people or are you taking the building and all? I mean, if you want to clean it down to the ground, that's fine by me. I don't give a flying fuck. I don't see no reason to leave buildings and shit where there's negative buildings. That's like how we've treated the negative uh, nests of subsurfaces, right? We emptied out the nest down to the bare walls. Everything that was in it got gone. We didn't keep anything. Why would I expect it to be any different on the surface, except that you got positives mixed in with these negatives? If I knew a way to single out individual positives and tell them, don't do this today, don't do that today, I think we could have already moved on it, but I don't know of a way to do that at this time. Do you? Is Harold coming up with anything on that? A way to do that? Notification of positives? To not do this or that or not go here or there tomorrow or something? See? Yeah, see? I don't know how you do it. And I'm not going to option one and entire everything down to the ground if there's positives inside that building. I don't know. I have thought of taking teams of Terrans and going into a building and examining each son of a bitch in the building, down to each individual, yes or no. And if they're positive, get out. If they're negative, blink. Or is the next one positive or negative? Get out or blink. It could happen. But how long would that take? And then you would start having, I could see negatives taking on hostages of positive beings once they ever figured it all out. I don't think they'll figure it out because they're stupid. They're not listening anyway. A negative's not going to listen to my videos or anything else. I have yet to have more than a couple the entire time I've been online with the Terran information. They used to come in the chat. They don't even come in chat anymore. Well, nobody comes in chat anymore. The chat on on the video. Nobody comes in. I don't do shit. They don't come in. They just look at the topic and I ain't touching that. I ain't going. That's their own damn fault. Willful ignorance is a key part of being negative. The lack of intelligence. That's key. In surface humans is key. I think so. You can take anybody at childhood and improve their intelligence. You let some people grow up a certain way, they may become educated, but it doesn't mean they become intelligent. That's why you rarely see the word used on surface humans. Educated or intelligent. There's a distinction between those things. I think one of the distinctions is negativity. I do think that. Yes, I do. What you got going on today, and don't bring up a certain topic. Okay? Yes. That sounds good. Yes, I did tell Grandmother per se that 4 colonies requests I would choose to approve them. I want you and her to get together and make sure there's nothing like the 5th colony that asked. The 5th colony wants to make an additional colony subsurface, and when the time comes to go surface, they only want their people on the surface of that one sublocal, whatever. That's not happening. Agreed. I agree. That's not happening. That's not happening anywhere. Not anymore. That's right. Not anymore. Not on this planet. Not anymore. If I find out it's happening, I'll come fix it. You can bet you Terra will fix it. If they're getting away with it, they won't for long. I've dealt with it as much as I can so far. I'd do more if I could. Yes, I would. Well, I was fixing to get off and I had a phone call from Rhonda. You heard all that? It's kind of weird that she has a job that I'm not against firearms, but some of these firearms are probably being bought by people who would be willing to use a political or religious mindset in determining if somebody lives or dies. And that I find negative. I find that negative. Yeah. You just want to say, you better be glad you verified. Well, you just told me that because I was fixing to start looking at you hard. Right. Oh, they do. There's all kinds of people that'll go that far. Or they say they will because they're on the internet. What they might actually do might be different. They're gutless swine. And I'm not talking about pigs either. And hogs. It's a derogatory term. They're the lowest form of human. There's the lowest form, the negative human. I don't even. Those weren't human at all. Those weren't human, and you know it, right? But this willful lack of allowing self or others to become intelligent is a negative trait, and it's so negative. I do have to wonder about the whole issue that Terra had with wanting to declare surface humans as feral negative beings. Because I think some do fall into a category like that. Feral negative beings. Doesn't matter. Look how negative the Anunnaki and other species were. And they were far more advanced than surface humans who have had to copy this information. They haven't come up with it on their own. Nothing on the surface came from surface humans. We know that now. Yeah. There's nothing on the surface of this planet that came from surface humans alone. Nothing. And most of it's repeats. And most of that is negative extraterrestrials, galactics. Right, galactics. Come here, I'm fixing to get up. I know you hungry pacing around. I'm on video and I'm talking to somebody, okay? Spank your backbone. I know you like that. Scratch it a little bit. You old big ass dog. Yeah, Thomas, that's where the dilemma of it all is. Because you can't separate them into groups and deal with one group. I don't see no way to separate people. The positive this side, negatives that side. Do that. They're not going to do it. The negatives are not going to do it because they could once they excuse me. Once they find out what's going on, they'll stay mingled with the positives. They won't separate. Mm-mm. They all mouth until it comes time to separate into what you truly are, and then they won't let you know hide nor hair of it if you can't reach them. As in, right. That's how it's going to have to be done. I think it's going to have to be done by individual, building by building. I was at one time thinking, fuck it, blink the planet and who remains, remains. But I just don't think we can. I think the numbers could become so dependent that we can't afford to do that. Unless we're just going to write off all surface humans. And I don't think Terra wants to do that. So how do you separate it besides being positive and negative? How do you separate and give the positives? Yeah, he's laying right there. Huh? Somebody smarter than me's got to figure that out. Because as far as I know, it's going to have to be an individual thing, maybe a building, depending on what kind of building it is. I'm not saying a rock building or a block building, or I'm saying organization building. I might could see it in an organization building, down to the ground. But I would say there's going to be some loss there that we'll have to bite the loss in order to deal with the mass number of population. The doing of that is I understand now the reasoning for having to do it this way. But even I got to a point where I was like, fuck it, blink the world. Fuck it. If we can't figure it out, let's do it and get it over with and move on. But I'm not exactly in that mindset right now either. Of course, back then I was raising hell about any and everything. I was on my way to having a damn near a mental breakdown. I hovered on the edges for months. I was fucked up more than I am now. Now, see, I can know that and laugh. I couldn't have done that months ago. Yeah. Yeah, I heard Monday. That's what I told Grandmother per se, but I haven't heard more than that. No, I haven't heard. This is day 4 of no prescription med other than disability stuff. No pain meds. Nothing strong enough to mess with me like that. No, and I haven't taken any of any kind the last 4 days. So I'm all set to go here as long as I can go. But I'm gonna need to eat something and feed these dogs because they down there. They may be laying down, but they down there looking at me like, that alarm clock went off on my phone. Yeah, it's annoying as shit, but I made it that way on purpose. Yeah, this is as loud as it'll go. Make me get up and go feed the dogs, whether I'm doing something or not. You heard that grunt? Yeah. I said feed the dogs. I'm still doing it. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna knock it down. As soon as it saves it like that, uh, I'm gonna leave these for now. All of those. Yeah, I gotta leave that one too. You're looking. I was gonna edit something. And I forgot what I was gonna edit on this one. I don't remember. So I'm just gonna leave it. Maybe it'll come to me while I go get a bite to eat. I don't know. I'll find something. Something already here. Yep. Hmm. I can't say we always eat good. No. We eat what we can get, what we can afford, like everybody else, imagine, does anymore. Unless you're better off. I mean, if you make more money, you might have better meals or whatever. Yeah, yeah, it does go by that. Hmm. I don't think even half the population on the surface grows their own food, Thomas. No. What is that, Bear? What is that? Sounds like a truck, but it ain't a delivery truck. It's something bigger. Right. That's all you got for right now. Well, I done gave the word. If the members of the DOT decide to act, they can. I got a delivery, so I'm gonna probably go ahead and get off. Right. Okay. People on YouTube, I'll be back later. Y'all have a good afternoon. If I don't.